welcome back to Overdrive. I am absolutely delighted to be joined by Linnéa from Maggot Heart. How are you doing today? It's such an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me. I'm good, thanks. Sunny here in Berlin, all good.
The reason that we're talking today is because there's this amazing album, Hunger. At what point did these songs start to come together?
So this record took a lot longer than the other records. The writing process was a lot longer. I was not very inspired for a very long time. I had to kind of reach a little bit further, dig a little bit deeper to get those ideas out. I felt like I was met with a lot of obstacles along the way. You know, you gain a little bit of momentum and then, I don't know, something bad would happen, or I would have a existential crisis or something. Last year was quite tough on many levels. We were back in underground touring after the pandemic, and it's tough out there. It felt in many ways we were kind of starting from scratch. It was I had some of the ideas that were written around the same time as I wrote the songs for a split EP that we came out with in 2021. So around 2020, that's where some of these ideas started. I didn't really get a good grip on the songs. I felt the basic ideas were there, but it took a really long time. Finally, we gained some momentum around at the end of last year. And then, it's the ketchup bottle, you kind of you've been hitting it for a really long time, and then nothing comes out, and then everything comes at once. So I would say a large portion of the album was written and kind of sewn up at the end of last year. I don't know.
Yeah. I think in a lot of cases, just, from a creative point of view, when you are feeling that you're sort of figuratively dragged down, it does force you to actually go to places that you don't normally want to go in order to build yourself back up again, As I said at the start, this is the third album, obviously following Dusk to Dusk, which is 2018. I can't believe that's 2018 already, and Mercy Medicine 2020. And in my opinion, just listening to this album, there's a tremendous, it's angrier. There's collectively, was everybody contributing to the writing, or did you feel the burden of, fuck, this is just all on my shoulders?
In terms of the writing process, it's my songs, but I think it's probably the most together that we worked on arrangements. You can hear the other guys putting their mark on the songs. Probably, I would agree that it's maybe the most together sounding that we've done it. Just like you're saying, the more you're working, the longer you're together, the more you learn about each other. I think we also were a little bit more relaxed. I am usually very fuzzy, I'm quite perfectionist, and I want things to be a very certain way. And this time I kind of let that go a little bit and wanted to relax into, you're saying, this confidence, and just kind of see a little bit where it goes. And I think that on this record it was definitely a bit of a trust exercise. I definitely think that it paid off.
Just with some of the stuff I was reading through, you had stated that the lyrics in this album are some of the kind of angriest ones that you've ever written. Was there any particular catalyst that brought out that anger in you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just feel my life in many ways is just a constant set of obstacles, but I guess it is for most people. The concept of hunger is sort of it evokes a lot of feelings for me, because I think that I am somebody who has dealt with a lot of hunger in my life, be it a drive or an ambition, something that kind of pushes you forward, but also something that can burn you out, and I don't know, it's sort of it kind of evolves around the concept of your desires being the root of your suffering. I just definitely felt frustration is a kind of a big theme for me lately.
Was it cathartic? Did you feel sort of, it's just getting
I
this
don't
out?
know. I don't really know if I ever feel that, to be honest with you. I mean, like I am not like this kind of artist who like can create a lot while I'm suffering. It's like long periods of absolutely nothing happening, and then it's just like when I'm kind of like find these pockets in time where things are like feeling a little bit better. That's when I can get moving on it. This record is not like purely about my life, you know. It's a concept on a whole,
Oh yeah.
things that you see around you. I don't think that I've ever felt like I had to hold back before on other albums, but just like you were saying, like there's a bit of a bigger confidence now that just comes with time and experience. So I think that I definitely felt like I wasn't holding back at all, like lyrically on this record.
One of the striking things about the album for me is immediately the visual aesthetic of it. I mean, that's a real different cover thing, and it reminds me kind of like a Debbie Harry sort of thing from a long time ago, who's an amazing artist also. But just your opinion, like what, you know, when you were discussing the visual of the cover, like where did that idea come from?
Well, I just like, for starters, I don't want to feel like I'm repeating myself in that regard. Like we've had two album covers that are illustrated, and they've been illustrated by the same artist, and they're kind of like going in more of a, you know, I don't know, hard rock, metal, gothy direction. I knew that I wanted a photo on this one, and something that like was unexpected. You know, I wouldn't want people to feel like they have pinned us down, like in any kind of regard, you know. Like I would like something that is unexpected. I feel like this record is quite like raw, exposing some vulnerabilities, and I would want that like to be reflected in the album cover. So it's, to me, it's sort of like a representation of vulnerability through strength.
Thing to do. There are a few artists that can create music that can appeal to such a broad audience of people. And do you find that, I mean, obviously the band is still kind of in an upward trajectory, but that it's a benefiting platform for you, because you can literally, you could go out and tour with Patti Smith, you could tour with Voivod and Killing Joke and numerous other bands, and you would fit right in.
It's sort of a blessing and a curse, you know. I think that like, just like you're saying, I mean, I'm very proud of Maggot Heart for it being what I think is quite unique.
Yes.
And that is like sort of what I would like my legacy to be, you know, somebody like who made music that sounded like Maggot Heart, and that was it, you know. I think that maybe I've been a little bit naive on those terms when I've been like, oh well, I think that we could probably tour with this like indie rock band and this death metal band. Like the reality is that maybe there's gonna be like quite few people that are gonna understand what you're doing, and you're gonna like kind of like fall between the chairs instead of like, you know, getting these chairs. But I mean, that doesn't really bother me so much though. Like in terms of artistic integrity, it doesn't bother me at all, you know. I hope that like Maggot Heart can be something that is just like literally whatever I want it to be. I do feel like the metal like scene has been far more like supportive than I was expecting, actually, because it's aggressive music, but you couldn't really call it metal, I don't think. And it's like, I don't know, I say that it's a rock band. Like we come from the metal, like we come from metal, you know, so and we've been in metal bands, all of us, so I do feel like at home there, even if what we do isn't necessarily metal.
Like looking at your experiences, I mean, The Oath, then on to Grave Pleasures, formerly Beast Milk, to where you are now, do you feel that that was a massive learning experience?
Definitely. I've been playing music all my life, but I was a little bit of a late bloomer in some ways, you know, like I think it was easier for me to put my music a little bit to the side in the beginning. I didn't really have like the confidence of like feeling like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I was a journalist for many years. I kind of focused on that, like writing about other bands instead of like having the confidence of saying that I think that I should focus on my own music instead of writing about others. So in some ways, you know, I didn't take my own songwriting and guitar playing seriously until I formed the Oath. And that was quite late. You know, I was like 26, something like that. And so in some ways, like, it's been one big learning curve in many ways. Like as difficult as like some of the experiences were with those bands, like I'm, you know, quite grateful for it also in some ways. With Great Pleasures, like I'm still in touch with them. I saw them just like a couple of weeks back.
So 2024 is the focus. For you guys, we just want to be out on the road as much as possible.
Well, we're gonna like go back to America definitely a few more times. We'll tour in support of the album in Europe for sure, and we'll try to like come over to the UK and Ireland as well.
All we can say is we just need to keep an eye on your socials and website and everything for updates about touring. And yeah, this wonderful album, Hunger, comes out on September 29th via Svart Records. And Linnéa, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us here.
Pleasure. Thank you so much. See you around. I'll see you.